Lady, the problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
Got a couple.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, in the books, it's like they're all X's.
True. No, not Lee Forrester.
He's not with any of them. He's not with Lee Forrester.
He was.
Yeah, it's just an X.
That's
the definition.
He never broke up with her, so technically they're still together.
Not an XX. I thought you meant X, like X-Man.
No.
Double.
I meant he's got all the X's in that, like he's alone.
He's got an X that's not an X.
Yeah, just one.
Well, welcome to this bonus issue of Mex-Men. I'm Tony.
I'm Justin.
I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be going over all new X-Men issue 25. And it's a bonus episode because it's a 30-page issue, but it doesn't really fit in with anything else. So,
did you count these, or did it just?
And also, it's not even a 30-page issue. It's like 29.
Ads. Oh, okay.
It's just the number at the top, and I rounded up. I thought, I didn't know I was with the page number Nazi.
Oh, I know what you did, but I'm saying Marvel Unlimited decided it's 29.
You don't know if there's a page missing.
Right, with it, considering them.
Yeah.
Because, shout out again, Marvel Unlimited, fuck you, you done goofed.
Devin's mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not, though. I love you, Marvel Unlimited.
Even though you're the only one who read the actual physical book.
You don't know that.
Which
you're holding it.
You're also out of the three of us, you're definitely the one who's you're digital, Devin's trades, and I'm single issues.
Oh, no, I'm trades.
Yeah, he's trades too. Except he's illegal digital.
Whoa!
Which is also crazy that you're praising Marvel Unlimited.
Not true. Support your local comic shop.
What are you talking about? It's not like they sponsor us. If anything, we're going to get a cease and desist tomorrow.
Maybe I'm trying.
Go spend money at comic book stores.
No, I read digital.
No, spend money on our TeePublic.
Yeah.
Then if you have anything left, I guess a comic book store.
So I don't have to flip pages here. That's why I normally read digital. I buy it all in trades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
It's hard to find a trade of this one issue, so I could understand why you would just get the one issue.
I don't know why I bought the singles of this, though.
I don't know. Like, timing?
Dumb decision.
Were you buying it concurrent?
Yeah, I bought all these singles, but this was during my time period where I was getting subscriptions from Marvel, so I think this came in the mail.
Oh,
this came in the mail.
Okay, that's what I mean. You were getting it as it was coming out. Like that's the only time I really buy singles is when I'm current with the run. Otherwise, it's like fucking get the trade. Because
now I just wait. I just bought Dawn of X Volume 1 through 4.
Oh yeah. Why?
Because I didn't buy them yet.
Well, we read them.
Yeah, well, I want to have them.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why you guys like the trade paperback so much. I can't stand I'm trying to read the first issue in the trade paperback, and the whole book's trying to fold over on itself. And
oh, yeah, I guess. But, I'm just comfortable with, holding them apart and stuff. It's fine to me.
I use 2 hands when I'm reading.
Yeah. Or even just the one hand as it's, laying on a surface. I don't know. The physics of reading a book, I feel like, are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, unless they're so tightly put together that it's trying to close.
Well, then you just act like something magical's happening.
You bend the shit out of your books. That's why
I'm saying
fine.
you know how in a movie or a scene of a thing where there's magic happening or a haunting, the book.
You're saying you use magic to read these books?
No, the pages of a book just turn. When that happens and it's an inconvenience,
like Harry Potter,
just a magic. Yeah.
If you open the books while you're flexing, like Scott does when he's blasting, you'll be good.
On that X cross in there?
I'm going to end up ripping all my books in half.
I think that the trades look sexier on the wall rather than a white box that looks like trash.
I like my white boxes.
Yeah, no, but I have those too, and they do look like trash.
It is becoming a problem.
They had to start putting out design boxes so that people would have a reason to buy them.
Which are 3 times as much, and they hold less comics.
And I have 4 or 5 long boxes and 9 short boxes, so it is a problem.
Yeah,
but
you can build a fort.
I could. You can't build a fort with your fucking trade paperbacks.
Also I could.
Yeah, if you open up the book and put your head under it,
it'd just be a small fort.
Yeah,
it sucks to have to take them out of the bag and board all the time, though. It's like, oh wow, that took me 15 minutes to read. Now I got to read.
Well, if I'm going to reread it, I just reread digitally. But if I'm gonna read it physical the first time.
He's keeping it as a commodity, I guess. And bragging rights.
No, I just like I like owning a thing and then actually having the thing.
You
Never to use
just
again.
defined a hoarder.
No, it's not old newspapers except for some of them.
Some of them are basically old newspapers.
Yeah, they're made out of the same papers. But I don't have a cat, so I'm not a hoarder.
All right. So all new X-Men 25 basically should have been titled Fuck You Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just like, we didn't need this one.
What are you talking about? This was a great issue. I love this
It
issue.
was a good issue, but like,
Pointless.
we didn't need it.
No, we did. The world needed it.
The world needed it.
The world needed it.
I just needed the last panel.
All right, so all new X-Men 25 starts with Beast just laying awake in his bed and a weird, creepy dude in the shadows.
He's contemplating jerking it so he can fall asleep.
doing, like,
I've
sexy
seen that
vibe.
look.
Yeah.
I've had that look a lot. And that's your like, I'm so tired and can't sleep, I'm about to jerk it look.
Yeah. And then suddenly, by the window in the shadows, a figure appears and is like, you up?
Hey, you up? It looks kind of like Xavier or Cassandra Nova.
Yeah. I mean, especially like you sort of see a face, actually.
And it looks all...
In the first one when the lightning strikes, and then it's Shadow forevermore.
I think the reason we're thinking Cassandra Nova over Xavier is
What, because
how...
he's dead?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say how wrinkly the face is when the lightning strikes.
Well, they're twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's always like more wrinkly because she was like, she's an evolved fetus basically.
Yeah,
Aren't we all?
She was strangled in the womb. Also, I love that.
Don't do
That's a perfectly timed, aren't we all?
Yes.
The definition of a human being is an evolved fetus.
All right, you're gonna strain your elbow jerking him off.
He's so far away.
Got a string.
He'll spit out the coffee.
It's hypertension.
Oh, man.
You got one of those claw grabbers.
You know
No,
what's
the
funny?
dinosaur head one.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I just bought, and I got it because of drawing, but I just bought one of those copper fit compression things, but for my wrist, but like for drawing.
So that'll help. But
I
speaking
bought one
of,
for my elbow.
I used to do line assembly, and I worked with this girl who's only like 5 foot, and she couldn't reach the parts on the line, so I got her that dinosaur head claw grabber, so she could grab the parts.
Nice.
All right, so figure appears and he's like, "Hey, can't sleep?" He's like, "No, I can't sleep."
Bedtime story.
It's like
He does kind of read him a bedtime story.
basically,
while
Beast is
asleep.
just like, "No, I can't sleep," and the figure's like, "Because of mutation, huh?" Like, did a lot of experiments to yourself, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean that kind of hurts, but like, no, it's mostly just I'm anxious." He's like, "Oh, you're anxious? What you got to be anxious about?" It's like, I just sort of ruined all of time and space, I think. It's like, oh, that's pretty bad, isn't it?
Very bad. It's not good.
you don't make good decisions, do you?
He's like, you pulled a Barry Allen.
By the way, the art's pretty amazing in this. Like, I like so many, like, you basically have 4 back-to-back panels that's exactly the same, and it's just the shifting of Beast's eyes as he's trying to avoid the figure that's behind him. It's pretty sweet. It's really dramatic.
They did a good job with that. And the lighting, too.
Yeah.
Also, he's hiding his dick because he had it out to jerk
He
it before. That's why he's got his back
exactly
turned.
doing it. He was on his back, and then he turned over as he's like, company.
Oh!
No, I'm just sleeping.
Threw the blanket over.
He like closed his laptop and threw a blanket real quick.
Yeah, and this figure starts to be like, yeah, well, I'd imagine your conscience isn't so great having broken time and space and ruining the future for all your friends and like your people. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, you brought them to you, Beast, brought the original X-Men to the present to stop a genocide that wasn't true. Like, it's based on a lie. He's like, you don't know that. It didn't happen, so it could have worked.
Full of himself right here.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it didn't happen, did it?
Right?
And you know he's sitting there like, you know who I'm not visiting right now? Cyclops. Didn't seem needed. You know who I have to visit? You.
Which, the person's being a dick, so that's why I was thinking Cassandra Nova. I wouldn't think Xavier would be this much of a dick, although he probably would.
I was about to say, if you read X-Men,
Right?
all of any of X-Men,
You mean the one who killed the other isn't the dick?
He's more
Like in the
subtle.
womb?
Like, this is him going to Beast. Like, Xavier's more all about himself, I think.
Yeah, but he lives in the universe, and
but
time displaced.
even the words here, though, right? Like, it's a person who's clearly disappointed with Beast because of what they did to others. Cassandra Nova doesn't have that sort of empathy or any empathy at all until X-Men Red.
Well, I didn't take it as empathy. I took it as torture.
Yeah.
Trying to make him upset.
If it was Xavier, he'd be like, because there's a possibility it could have been like Xavier from the past coming to the future and being like, "You stole my children. I was grooming them."
That'd be hilarious.
I had so many plans.
He just turns into fucking Cable with a big ass gun going into the future to get his kids back.
I'm picturing Cable in a wheelchair. So he's got the big gun, but trying to push the wheels forward.
When he grabs the gun, he has to let go of the wheel, so he stops, but then he starts going backwards when he's blasting the gun.
I like that his go-to move, though, would be to, like, just spin the wheels, and then as he's, like, gliding, that's when he's shooting people.
I like, too, the idea that the gun's so big, right? It's like, if he has it on the back and he's trying to back up, it falls, and it, like, just stops him, and he runs into it, or he's trying to move forward, it slips off his lap, and it just works as, like, it just plants in the ground and then just hits him in the stomach, like, he can't go forward. Like, it's just a thing that's stopping his movement, too.
Important question.
It'd be fantastic.
Do they make real wheelchairs where you can, like, go backwards, and as you're going backwards, it's tightening up something, so when you let go, it shoots you forward?
Oh my god, that would be insanely awesome.
Because he could get one of those.
That would be like awesome, but also pointless, you know, because they already have electric ones that move. Like,
they could do like a poorer version of it, like if you don't have insurance.
Well, it's like the electric bicycle, right? It's like you already have motorcycles and mopeds and stuff that are just automatic, and then you have bicycles that aren't, and they're like, hey, what if we got something that's not as good as either of those?
We got you the bike from Pokemon.
And it's like, it's kind of both of them.
Yeah, that's cool, though, because then if you run out of gas, just pedal to the gas station.
The electric bicycles?
Mm-hmm.
Just battery.
Oh, I was talking about a motorized one. I mean, a gas one.
Oh.
You ever seen that? You slap a lawnmower engine on there?
Oh, you're talking about the ones where you can start it up by like cycling it, but they still kind of like run on gas.
Like a homemade one, like somebody just built them.
I'm not riding anybody's homemade motorcycle.
Or you could just like have a motorcycle and then be responsible and make sure it has gas in it.
Good.
Yeah, but what if your meter's
but when you got 10 DUIs and you can't drive a motorcycle.
Like, that's all they are, loopholes, right?
Yeah.
Like all these different types of motorized, basically motorcycles.
Yeah,
They're bicycles that are motorcycles, but they're not officially motorcycles. So, like, you just get away with being a drunk driver and still getting away, like, around using a motor.
No, because those laws are super strict. You can't even ride a bicycle
They
drunk.
say motorized vehicle, yeah.
Are you sure?
No, it's like anything with wheels you can get a DUI on.
Charles got one.
Or I think
You got a wheelchair in your truck, sir, we're gonna need you to pull over.
Or it's
You
like,
were wasted.
it's after the fact, right? It's like once you've already had your license revoked. Like, you don't need a license to drive a moped or a bicycle or an electric bicycle. So it's like maybe not during the process of having gotten a DUI and that initial judgment of it, but like after the fact when like, oh, you have no license anymore.
I think it just
a
depends if
bike
the
guy.
cop wants to be a dick, and he can just come at you for being on a bike drunk.
I guess, but like when you see it out there, it's pretty obvious. Like, who's riding a bike because I got to ride a bike.
Technically, you're not supposed to walk drunk. This is drunk in public.
Which is dumb. It's like, bars are a thing. What are you supposed to do?
Well, it's basically just say don't be a jackass.
Right. But I mean, it's like one of those laws where it's like, I mean, well, come on.
Yeah, right.
It's a whole thing about.
Got the code right here. It is illegal
Jesus,
to
you
ride
brought
a
it
bike
up.
under the influence of. It says of drink or drugs. That's a weird way to put it.
Dude, but they got whole bars that are group bikes.
I know.
Like, that's the whole point. Like, that whole business model is just committing a crime.
There's a lot of business models that are just committing crimes.
Now, I kind of just want to know what those are.
Prostitution.
Cat burglary. I can't speak right now.
Cat burglary?
Stealing shit. That's a business
Yeah.
model where it's illegal.
Oh, man. You know what else is illegal? Destroying time and space.
Should be.
And that's what Beast is
It's literally against the laws.
getting
of
reprimanded for. So,
What's the code for that one?
you know what's funny? He never brings it up. Beast should have been like, what's the code for it?
He has to give him a citation.
So the figure is telling Beast, and this is part of why I didn't think it was like Cassandra Nova or anything, because they're talking about how it's a privilege to be able to do this sort of thing, and like you're abusing a privilege, and like I don't know, just like the rhetoric of how they're speaking didn't seem like I could see Cassandra Nova trying to be mean and hurtful, but it's more like you're irresponsible at this point, and it's like, well, obviously, because we broke.
He keeps fucking
Shot him in space, and he keeps doing it, and then they the figure starts going into like exactly what happens to his closest friends, basically. So he brings up Jean and how like Jean was this innocent, like the embodiment of like the future of mutant kind, basically. Like she's a poster child of like what the best and brightest could have been.
Yeah, all the images that they draw of Jean on that page too, she looks like she's like a Bratz doll or something, like
yeah, kind of
like an innocent kid's toy.
That's basically this was an art book.
Yeah,
It was like, let's get all the artists we can on here, and they're just going to do stuff, and then I'm going to try to match words to it, basically, but like also not try that hard. What I didn't like though is like, and even when that innocence was corrupted by a force greater than her against her own will, like I didn't like that part where it's like, oh really? Because we find out later she could have broke up with it at any time.
oh yeah, true.
Yeah, Rosenberg.
Yeah, it's fucking underrated. And I don't even care if like people actually like love that book. It's still underrated. Should be even higher. Should be even greater.
Justin hates that book.
Yeah, it was pointless.
Do Rosenberg's run on X-Men?
Rise of Phoenix.
Phoenix Resurrection was pointless.
Yeah.
Oh,
Phoenix Resurrection.
I liked Rosenberg's run up.
I just mean Rosenberg's take on the X-Men.
Yeah, it was good.
No, I thought that was great. That's making her culpable of everything the Phoenix ever did. It's trash that's the case.
Yeah, but you could have did that in a panel.
I think it's because we all got honey dick that they were going to bring Cyclops back at that time, and then they didn't.
Your ideal panel for that is they're like, Jean, it's your fault. And she's like, okay.
Except done.
But then he always
You're
had
like,
a plan.
sweet, all I needed was one word.
He always had a plan to bring Scott back, and then like you saw it, and it actually did tie into that. It just took longer than what we wanted.
Well, I mean, it could have been a one shot. Realistically, I didn't need all that in her mind
Yeah.
stuff, and like she's at the diner. I'm like, this is a waste of my time.
But there's cool subtle shit that's happening in there, like the idea that the Phoenix is a force that's trying to kind of serenade Jean and like wow her with all like this beautiful world, but in reality it is literally destruction incarnate. So anytime Jean isn't looking at something, it's burning to death. And as soon as she puts her glance to it, like the Phoenix power like makes it look like Pleasantville. So, I like that duality of it. I think it's a deep book, honestly. I mean, in parts of me are like, this is bullshit because it's a Jean story and, not a lot's going on in terms of like how long it is, but at the same time, I think it's clever. It's kind of how I feel like about Man of Steel. Man of Steel is actually a really clever movie that ultimately I'm like, fuck this. Superman,
Just because you mentioned Pleasantville, though, do you remember that movie very well? The mom in that movie masturbates a tree on fire.
Oh, wow. I don't remember that.
Yeah, she's like masturbating in the tub. When she has an orgasm, a tree lights on fire outside. So that's
Metaphor.
the ideal world, I guess.
That coming burns foliage.
Yeah. It kind of, in that universe, like, there's almost never a woman orgasm because, like, anytime there is, there's a fucking fire.
How? And you said she was, like, in the bath?
Yeah.
How strong is that metaphor that she comes in water and it's so strong that a bush outside burns?
It's the way you said it makes it sounds like she's got a crazy venereal disease.
It's passion. It's the fire.
Is that what you call it?
Whenever my genitals burn,
This is passion.
because of the passion.
No, never an STD.
That's not why it burns.
Anyway, so you see like the history of Jean basically, and the figure like throughout the book is mainly like it's a bunch of like word boxes as you're seeing illustrated what he's talking about, and the figure is saying that like, and I get that like you think that you may be bringing Jean to the present is sparing her from all the pain she's going to end up having to suffer in her life. But what do you think is going to happen to her now growing without Xavier's influence, which this is another part where it's
was
like,
horrible.
yo, for real, Xavier's what roots her to like humanity and goodness.
Yeah, I don't think that was the case at all. He helped her learn her powers.
But it's the premise, right? And you see that too. You do see that she's gaining power way quicker than she historically did.
I think the thing that really grounded her was the friendships she made along the way.
But it kind of really discounted Jean. It took a shit on her. Basically like, oh, but without Xavier, she's evil.
Yeah, but also we see that without Xavier, she becomes evil. Like we saw that in Battle of the Atom.
But I wouldn't say that was without Xavier. That was just living in that future.
Well, exactly. But that is her without Xavier.
It's kind of the problem they always have whenever they're writing Jean is for some reason they can't write her by herself. She's always a character that depends on somebody else's story arc.
I don't think that's the case. They did a Jean solo book that actually was good later.
After this.
Yeah, after this.
But
yeah, it was good.
Even then, it was young Jean.
Yeah, and then it was pointless because it was actually leading up to the resurrection. And it was leading into a better story that ended up not mattering.
Really?
And then it was Resurrection, and that wasn't right.
That was the good part of X-Men Red, too, was that it was actually Jean being able to stand on her own without somebody else being what drives her story. And then they just kind of go back into that.
I guess.
With the current
I feel like I don't know. I didn't like X-Men Red.
I'm not saying it was a fantastic book. I'm saying that was the good part of it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, Namor was the good part of it.
See, Rebro.
I don't think that was his doing.
Namor was barely in that fucking book.
You still the best part.
He led to see Rebro.
But yeah, no, the Jean book was basically her being like, fine, everyone's saying I'm going to have this run-in with the Phoenix, then I'm going to find a way to beat the Phoenix. And it was like basically her going to and kind of interviewing all the people who've been touched by the Phoenix to learn how they dealt with it and what to expect.
Same book with Xavier.
That's a memoir.
Yeah,
another 600 issue series here.
Like when we first started this Touched by Xavier book, we weren't expecting us to get to 1,000 issues. But.
But anyway, it was basically her trying to create like a psychic arsenal to it's cool. It's like she talked to Quentin. Quentin showed her how to make psychic weapons and shit. So did like Psylocke and all that. It was dope. And then like didn't matter at all. It was like barely a tie-in. So
yeah.
Anyway, so she gets all evil without Xavier. She looks sort of like Madeline Pryor, actually, Goblin Queen.
Yeah.
It's crazy how they look alike.
Yeah, and she's like,
you just broke down.
Because she's a clone.
For those at home who didn't know,
they're the same person.
Madeline Pryor is a clone of Jean Grey. But also, I mean, because like the Goblin Queen's like an evil fucking hell version, and now this future version of the past Jean is like kind of an evil hell version who's like sitting on people who are in despair.
A throne of people.
Yeah, a throne of naked men.
There's some women there.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there are. They're at the bottom.
Yeah. What do you say? Is that like a...
No, even Jane's like, know your place. And she put him at the bottom of her chair. I don't know why. That's what she did.
Okay.
I didn't say it was the right thing to do.
Justin, you want to get him out of this?
I'm let him sit in it.
Get me out of what? I incriminate myself in no way.
Yeah, if you got a problem, email Jean Grey.
I think women are great.
Yeah. Jean Grey doesn't. She's like, you're at the bottom of my chair. Unless that's actually the place that you want to be, because like Jean farts hit whoever's under her specifically. And they're like, bitch, I'm like the back left leg.
I think that's just a weird way to stack people.
Yeah,
because like one person...
You'd think the heaviest would be at the bottom.
They need to speak to some
Too.
cheerleaders.
Yeah. Like they got a perfect pyramid for her to sit on top of. But no, all right. Not only do you got like the tiny girl on bottom, but the guy's like shins are on her shoulders to keep him up.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's because like cheerleaders, when they stack bodies on top of one another, they're trying to do it in the most stable comfortable way, right? And she's like, I don't care about humanity. I want them to suffer. Fucking, you get in the most uncomfortable position possible, and I'm gonna sit on you like a chair.
So you're saying she built a chair and she wasn't thinking of comfort?
Exactly.
Doesn't track.
The chair's comfort.
It's just to make
she doesn't
it
care
look-
about the chair's comfort.
A chair's not comfortable if it's trying to not fall over.
It's just to make it look like a throne.
I know. Getting all serious
We can move
over it.
on here to the Cyclops.
Withdrawn.
Yes, and then he goes, all right, so the mystery man goes on to like, and by the way, what about those of you who fancy themselves the embodiment of an idea, which is like literally speaking about one guy. And it shows Cyclops in his future now because of what Beast has done. And it's to die while flexing.
Yeah.
Like even that flex blast in his death.
His doesn't make any sense because it kind of is just saying like, yeah, all you guys just abandoned him, and he goes on to be by himself.
Yeah, and fail and be mocked for his failure, even though he's right. Like basically, that's what he says. Is like,
Yeah, they are. I've been thinking he might as well like get down to Beast and be like, Cyclops was right.
yeah. He says because he's speaking about him, but saying you, like, but he's speaking about Cyclops. But he in all of this, he's like also projecting it to Beast. So you die knowing you failed to convince the world to open its eyes and look to the future. And like that's basically, he's like, this is his future now because you were a bitch. And it's fucked up. It's an image of Scott and the X like shooting and burning alive while like a crowd cheers, and there's like a no more mutants.
Yeah, he's getting burnt like on a cross, but it's an X.
Yeah. And there's like a no more mutant sign.
It says mutant terror no more.
Basically the same thing.
There's one extra word in there.
I am aware. And I said it twice, and I looked at the sign and I was like, I'm not going to correct that. And then you were like, you know what? I'm going to correct that.
If I
and
am
now
Groot,
it's a thing.
If I am Groot can be an entire language, then that is a huge difference.
Okay. What made me wonder was like about this is future Scott though. So what past Scott happened? Like, does he share the same fate? Like, is it just like
He's on that
Cyclops
chair.
is
This
doomed
is past
to this
Scott
growing into his future version anyway?
Yeah.
He's
still
on
being
the,
that guy.
He's always going to be that guy.
Yeah.
He's on the chair. He's a part of the chair. That's what I'm assuming. He's like on the very bottom.
Well, you know what part he wants to be.
He wants his face to be the seat.
And then the figure goes on to tell him, like, and he's basically going through all the original X-Men right now, and he's like, and then, you know, for some of you too, you think that, you know, you just have this mutation under control, and the best of you, like, and the kindest of you, like, don't. And it's showing that, like, even Bobby loses control of his power, which makes sense because I mean, he has Omega level power.
Yeah.
He kind of grows into that power later, like, and it makes sense that it could overwhelm him without guidance and support.
Of Xavier.
I guess I just meant in general, but you want to give the credit to Xavier, that's on you.
That's what they're trying to say. Or that would have made more sense than the Gene thing, considering, well, maybe he's touching Bobby too. Who knows?
No, I wouldn't think that it's an Xavier thing because then that's just the figure trying to prove Beast right. That Cyclops it's all Cyclops' fault, but this is all on Beast.
I think, first of all, Bendis is just trying to find different adjectives for all of them. So, because I know where you're going to go with, but it's most heroic.
Garbage.
Right, because you want to apply it to
Everybody
Scott.
knows Dazzler is the most heroic mutant,
But I think
followed only by Namor.
I think he's talking about, like, he has no other feature other than kind and heroism. Like, Scott has another feature in that he's
It said optimistic. It said lighthearted and heroic.
yeah. But, like, doing right for the sake of doing right. Like, Scott sort of does right for the sake of his people, mostly. Like, there is doing right because you're supposed, like, it's just the right thing to do. But, like, what is
He saved those humans and got blasted by the Sentinel.
right? I'm saying, what is the strongest motivation for his actions? Is the equality of his people. And then there's doing right for the sake of doing right. Like, he's got other factors of his personality sort of battling with, like, what's more important. Whereas Bobby is just sort of one note at this point where he's like, hey, it's the guy who's a hero and he's fun. And so it's like, how do you... Because he's got to write disasters for all these people. So yeah, I get why he said that he's the most heroic.
I keep thinking of how there could have possibly been before like Beast was visited. He initially visited Bobby and was like, "So I heard all this was your fault."
Well, the rest of the X-Men were blaming him.
Yeah. So it's like, this was your idea to bring them from the past. He's like,
Beast, no! Beast brought the original X-Men to the present? Bobby, how could you? It's so stupid. Also, to what we were talking about, like, think about the negative things Scott's done for his cause, right?
I can't think of any.
Like, threatening, like, even just, like, his revolution is just a vague threat at this point of just, like, we will be violent if you keep pushing us. So, like, Bobby's never even come close to threatening, is, I guess, the point. So, like, if you have something that detracts, I mean, for example, Jean killed a star system or whatever. So, like, she's got a bad side, clearly. Warren, as we're going to go into, but, like, and you know this is, like, Archangel. Beast, we know, is a dick. So, like, he's just the one that doesn't have, dirt, basically.
It cleans off so easy with the ice.
Yeah. So
I get it, but
that's
it's a lie.
It's hard to have blood.
It's a lie.
It's hard to have blood on your hands when it just slips right off.
And he goes into, like, and if that can happen to, like, the best of you, right? If you could lose control and be destructive to the best of you, what about someone who's already had that?
What about a rich,
experience.
entitled asshole?
Who suddenly wants to kill everyone? Yeah. And it shows that the future for Warren is to basically kill the X-Men, to become death all over again.
And Captain America. Just
to make it even. Just so it's not all too bad. And then it shows, like, and that's just, like, the original ones. That's what happens to the ones you brought back who have to now grow in this future. What do you think happens to the ones who stay? So it shows, like, Colossus basically becomes a worse Cable. Like, he just becomes a guy who's fighting.
He just has a gun.
And forgets why he's even fighting.
The only similarities I see is the metal arm and the gun.
Well, he's on
Vengeful
X-Force.
Scar.
He's on Cable and the X-Force at this time anyway, though. So it's sort of like that's the progression of him. And he's got a sword.
Yeah.
Does Cable have a sword? Cable doesn't have a sword.
No, but he's got weapons. Like, he just becomes like a fucking future warrior guy.
All right, I'll go. For some reason,
you're saying you don't look at that and see how it's sort of like Cable.
It's definitely Cable.
It's similar to Cable.
I can see it, but I'm saying it's because of the metal arm and the gun.
Yeah, but, like, come on, that is like half of Cable's thing.
The facial scar.
I'm still.
Yeah, didn't they add a facial scar?
I'll give you that, but you're not getting the sword.
No, the sword is not Cable.
No, it's just overkill. It's just more weapons. Does he need a sword? No.
He's super jacked.
Fucking file your
like
hand. He's
Cable.
got a sword.
He's always super jacked.
He's like if Cable and, like, Conan the Barbarian, like, fused.
I thought you were going to find a character that was, like, all metal except for an arm.
No. I'm not going to try that hard.
Colossus in the Age of X-Men.
Yeah. And then this one I didn't really, like, fucking get, but whatever. Like, he goes on to talk about how, like, Emma Frost eventually gives in to insanity of all the voices. That's just stupid. Why would she? She would just do her own thing.
She's the one
She's way too strong-willed.
Well, and she's, like, the best trained psychic. Like, everybody's naturally more powerful than
basically
her. And because of just, like, how good she is, she stands toe-to-toe with them.
I mean, maybe this is because, Bendis is working off of, like, she was with Scott. They're part of their evolution. Scott clearly dies in this in this incarnation, right? So what happens to, like, the person who is basically his right hand?
She does go insane when he does die.
Which, I mean, Bendis wouldn't have known that because that happens after the fact. And she does, but not to this degree. She doesn't go, like...
Well, I want to say he wouldn't have known that because, I mean, they plan these arcs out years ahead.
Yeah, but he's off the X-Men by Secret War. And that happens after Secret War.
But Marvel does... Every year, Marvel
Are
does,
you
like,
telling me they planned what they were going to do with the X-Men after Secret War? Because that's garbage. Like, this early on?
They always do.
Because that is a garbage turn.
What I'm saying is that Marvel meets together at, like, a camp thing every year, and they go over their story arcs for the next
I understand
few years.
what you're saying. I'm saying...
So he would have known that they had a plan for the death of Cyclops.
I don't know. I don't know if he would have known that much. Otherwise, like, fucking what the fuck, Bendis? You didn't fight for something better?
He didn't care. He had one foot out the door at this point.
I know. Yeah, so he shows Beast that he just becomes an animal. He loses all his humanity. And Beast becomes the thing he's been trying to run from.
The Velociraptor.
Yeah.
He's been running from them.
And then Beast starts telling him no, he doesn't want to hear it anymore. He doesn't want to see this future. Because also, like, this figure, like, he's not just telling Beast these things. Beast is experiencing it. So, like, presumably, like, the panels you're actually reading, he's seeing and feeling those moments. And he's like, can't there be anything good, any good possibilities coming from this? And the guy's like, you want good stuff? Yeah, there's good stuff. There's a version, like that moment you all want where the rest of the world just appreciates and accepts you for who you are. The heroes and the incredible gifted individuals that you should be recognized for. Yeah, that happens. That happens in many futures. And it shows like a parade of the X-Men and Scott wearing way too many X's on his uniform because it's like he's got like all the
X's.
It represents all of his X's.
Yeah. And it shows like it starts going into like different like with this appreciation, you guys finally have freedom to be who you want to be and do what you want to do and live your lives and adventure.
Branch D.
Yeah, I guess. And to explore.
Who knows if that will make sense after editing.
And then he starts talking about like, and I know what you're worried about. You're worried like, well, what happened to you guys without the X-Men, without needing to be the X-Men? Like, wouldn't it hinder your your progress? And it's like, honestly, for some of you, the X-Men, being an X-Men hinders your progress in life. Some of you are meant for so much more, and he shows Magic becoming sorcerers or being Sorcerer Supreme, basically. And he starts talking about how Emma Frost would be an agent for S.H.I.E.L.D. instead of instead of a White Queen, she becomes a White Knight. And it shows too, like I think Rogue is there, like on a team with Emma Frost, and you got like a couple other mutants. I think Pixie is also a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and then Scott would become just a vigilante, I guess. Which it feels like semantics because at a certain point he's like, and some of you are just like who you are, right? You're just going to be superheroes, but like, wouldn't a vigilante with superpowers kind of just be a superhero?
I don't see where he's just superhero.
Yeah, he's fighting the Mimic.
Yeah. Yeah, he says a freedom fighter becomes a vigilante, and it's Cyclops, obviously, and he's like shooting a blast, and Mimic shooting a optic blast back at him. But like, that would basically just make him street level super. Like, if a vigilante is Daredevil, right?
Yeah, street level superhero.
Spider-Man. So,
which they're kind of vigilantes already because they're not liked, right?
Yeah, kinda. So
they're not like Avengers.
But then they are.
Oh, in this, but I'm saying normal X-Men, they're like.
Oh, I mean, like the rules for a vigilante in the Marvel Universe and a superhero are basically the same thing because all the characters that go into vigilante arc end up getting thrown in superhero teams and are given so they're all superheroes. And it's like he goes on to say like, you know, Wanda would become like a star and Magneto becomes like a power broker instead of a terrorist.
Magneto becomes Vanilla Ice being held over the power.
I don't understand how her picture on whatever that
is a TV. It's supposed to be a TV.
But like, it's not like her on the. It's like a photo ID picture.
Yeah, they meant like literally like a desktop icon.
Maybe she's not like the way they put it is
like she becomes a wallpaper. She becomes thumbnails.
The way it looks is like I assume she's famous because she went missing.
Yeah. And then he shows like Kurt and Beast and like you guys you're still superheroes. You do superhero stuff still. Yeah, you just wouldn't be the X-Men.
Cap is less racist and let you on his team in this universe.
And then he's like, and Beast is like, well, you just given me negative things and you've given me positive things, so I refuse to believe that anything I've done is actually wrong. And he's like, yeah, all that good stuff I just said doesn't happen because of you. Take that.
Bitch.
I showed you what could have been. You fucked it up. It's just so. And then Beast is just like, that's not true. Like, all I want is for everyone I care about to have happy lives and to love and stuff, like, and be loved. And the figure's like, yeah, you broke all that. It's not happening. And Beast is like, well, can you help me? And the figure emerges from the shadows and his head grows 10 times its original size.
I assumed that he was keeping his head small. And then when he was like, all right, I'm about to say who I am, he's like,
big reveal.
Yeah, I wonder if what kind of powers does he have to do this?
I don't know. They're really vague with his powers, and then they kill him off. This is
like,
right before he gets killed.
Yeah.
I think it's that, like, 70% of his head has that Nightcrawler power. You're invisible in shadows.
But it's funny because the first image you get, lightning strikes and there isn't shadows around his face.
Because he has a normal collar too. It looks like a trench coat.
Yeah, he's wearing a
now
coat.
all of a sudden he's got his super big Watcher collar going on.
Which also makes me think that when his head got bigger, he also popped his collar like a douchebag in fucking middle school.
By the way, it's a Watu, the Watcher.
Yeah.
We didn't outright say it, but that's
Because
who
Beast is
talking
like,
to.
help me. And he's like, I can't help you. I only watch.
He does, and he's like, and by the way, you disgust me.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm the Watcher. I do not act. And you disgust me, Hank McCoy.
I just wanted to tell you how much he's like, I'm breaking rules even now, but that's how much I wanted to tell you how much I hate you.
Yeah, it was a great moment.
It's like, oh, I can still fix this. I just need... And he leans back on the bed. You know what he does after that.
Yeah.
He gets back to his business.
He's like, oh, he's finally gone.
Gotta get out my happy fluid.
And then there's some shorts in here too that are kind of funny.
The Scott and Logan one I really liked.
Yeah. it's old man Scott and there's Logan and he's like, he passed SpaghettiOs because of a pan of SpaghettiOs to buy Scott. They're at a dining room table.
Yeah, it's called BFFs forever.
and Scott just doesn't at all acknowledge him. So Wolverine gets up, takes his bowl over, puts it, and he puts the SpaghettiOs in his bowl and then walks back. And then there's just like a like, it's so great because it's like Scott has insane dementia at this point, and he's just like, Gene?
And the way the artist drew him looks so hilarious.
It's so obvious.
That's such a long table, too.
Yeah, it's like the X table. It's
like they're
big.
the last two X-Men alive.
Also, why is Wolverine's eye gone?
Shit happens.
Yeah, and then another one, just Kitty and Colossus throughout the years.
Yeah, it's accurate until it's not. Basically, it's like it's like they're both into each other. It's like, wait, how old are you? Not old enough. And then it's like, we're into each other. How old are you? Old enough. Great. And then it's like all the pitfalls in their relationship.
Yeah.
And then
he literally says, like, how old are you? She's like 18. And he's like, thank God.
Yeah. It's great. It's how it just basically shows they're never meant to be together, even though they are the last 4 days of their life.
4 days.
I love the picture of her in the bullet flying
Yeah.
through, and she's like, this sucks. Which, that is the dumbest reveal since.
It's not a missile.
Yeah.
It's a bullet.
That's the dumbest. The only thing that tops that is that's not a dome, it's a spear.
It's a hollow point bullet.
Yeah. Logan says to him, like, sorry, Kitty is stuck in a giant bullet flying through space.
I like too that it's like he's just happy every time, but then like when she's like, I'm pregnant, and he's like, das vidanya. He just leaves.
Yeah, 'cause she says she doesn't know whose it is. But it was funny because she's like, are you kidding? He's like, whose is it? He's like, are you kidding me right now? I have no idea.
Maybe Kurt might be Cable. It's been a weird year.
And then there's a weird like domestic Gene and Logan
Yeah.
like relationship one. And it's just like, I read your mind. I know you're lying to me. Go get the food I asked for. And he's like, I'm all caught up by ninjas.
Yeah, and he's high as hell because he's putting in eye drops.
Is he?
Yeah.
Hey, this is smoking. That's why he forgot.
Yeah, probably.
That's why I forgot the Hot Pockets.
Also, who goes out for Hot Pockets? I feel like it's a thing that like
You know, Gene's not
You have to
cooking.
buy a Hot Pockets at some point.
No, I'm saying I feel like it's a thing. Like you're already at the store, and then you see them, and then you like for some reason convince yourself, yeah, it'll be okay. But like, who's like, you know what I want right now? It's fucking Hot Pockets, and then you go to the store for the Hot Pockets.
Well, you know,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Jean's not cooking. You know that.
Yeah, she can't see some food.
And they're gonna put the Hot Pockets in the oven, not the microwave. Classy.
Logan tries to put garlic on there. She's like, no!
I like to. He opened the door with his claws.
Did he?
Yeah. There's the.
Yeah. You see
the
the snake, and she's just
like,
sitting
creeps
around in her costume.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What? Why the fuck are you wearing that?" Like, all my other clothes were dirty.
That's probably the best part of it too. Is him leaving and just like, why are you dressed like that?
It's like clear, like she's not doing shit. She's sitting on the couch in her laptop demanding Hot Pockets. And Wolverine's staring in the mirror at his claws, like trying to, he's like posing in the mirror. But I also think it's funny because you got the last panel where Uatu tells Beast, like, you disgust me. And then in this ad, it's like, who killed the Watcher?
That's so great.
Yeah, because he dies like right after this.
Yeah.
Because Original Sin is like coming up for us to cover on our next Uncanny episode that we do.
There is a page though that it's weird. The giant size X-Men cover page with all the amalgam drawings of characters.
I don't like that Cap's on the giant size X-Men.
I don't even sort of know how to process that entire picture.
Yeah, it's
so all over the
weird.
place.
Yeah, Cap with the Soul Sword. And then Dazzler's there for some reason.
Yeah, and I can't. Is that supposed to be like Cyclops decided to become Emma Frost and dye his hair? Like, I don't understand what's going on there. It's like Emma Frost and Cyclops fused.
Everyone's just mixed, yeah. That's Cyclops and Emma. You got Jean and Logan, Colossus and Storm, Iron Man and Captain Britain, and Psylocke. Well, I guess that is Captain Britain now. Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye.
They knew the future.
They called it. You got Magneto and Rogue, Captain America and Magic, and it looks like Dazzler and Longshot. So I think it's kids.
Yeah. Dazzler's kind of just a better Jubilee, huh?
You're gonna
A lot better.
hurt his feelings.
It's crazy how Jubilee gets more time on the X-Men than...
Yeah, we'll wait till she gets a solo series.
Well, that was this bonus issue of Mex-Men before we start getting into a fight. So remember to check out all our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Everything is at Mex-Men Podcast.
Yeah, buy our stuff. We sell it. You buy it, please. It's on TeePublic. There's all sorts of stuff on there. You find a reason to spend money on it.
What he's saying is...
And we'll appreciate it.
Is we have merch if you would like to buy merch.
Yeah.
And if you buy enough stickers, you can make anything Mex-Men.
If you buy 200 stickers, Justin will strip for you.
If you buy enough stickers, you can spell Mex-Men with Mex-Men stickers.
Yeah, put on your car.
like some weird like Dukes of Hazzard Confederate flag that they have on the car, but it's just our stickers that spell out our name.
Okay, spell out.
Not the Confederate flag.
I was like, no. Really, these are our only two listeners?
So they heard Confederate flag, they just turned it off. Didn't even hear the reconciliation.
Well, they're gonna miss the That's for Today.